Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you live around the world. We're back to this series of videos looking at the development of a geodesic dome, or the understanding of the creation of geodesic domes would be more accurate. You can see that in the background I've left the tent with Jeff tucked inside nicely. I've recreated the base upon which this is formed, leaving the faces or facets in place. And you can see that when we look at it without perspective, you can see what I was saying about along this line here. It's a nice vertical and flush surface. It's one of the few times that you'll see this when you make the domes. There is another, as we go through, there will be another version, and that will be an important point to look at, or version to look at. I'll just leave it there at the moment, but this being able to have a vertical face there has a lot of, it ticks a few of the boxes that I require. Okay, we'll put the perspective back on, and what you can do, if you save these in separate files or in a group, you can use this time and time again if you want to look at something or create or draw another dome. So what I tend to do is I'll just group all these together. I will move this back, say 6 meters, and I'll make a copy of this and move back 6 meters as well. Now you can group them together so they stay together, because I can assure you, if you're anything like me, you'll make as many models as you possibly can just to confuse yourself. I'm sure that's the only reason I've done it. But you'll start to wonder why you made one part of the model and what it relates to. So it's not silly to group those together so that you know that each one of them relates to each other. Okay, so this one we can get rid of, and we'll get rid of these parts that made up this model for a 2V model. I then redraw, and I've still left my 3 lines on the axes. I then redraw my triangle. I'll come in here, and in this case I will divide the line by 3. Guess what? A 3V or 3 frequency dome is going to be created. 3 divided by 3. I'll make that a group. And that would have, I know, grabbed those 3 lines, so I'm not too worried about that, because later on we'll divide these lines up into different iterations, different versions. So the easiest thing to do is to find the end point of that line, draw it across to the other point, come down, find the other one, you'll see there, draw it across, come down until, hey presto, you've got 1, 2, 3 divisions on that line, and you've got the points upon which you need to draw these lines, these 1 meter lines, because all of your lines are going to be 1 meter. That's the beauty of that approach. Again, I will give a bit of a hat tip to Paul Robinson. That's the way he does it. I did it. I saw the wisdom in what he did, so now it's mine. Now I will going to turn that into a group. Don't worry about what gets selected elsewhere, so long as that's not going to interfere with anything else. And hopefully I've done that. So if you want to, you can hide and hide. Oh, yes, that's a group. Group, it's got the heavier lines. And hide. As I said at the end of the last video, less waffle and more drawing. I'll put a 1 meter line there. 1 meter line there. You can see the wisdom of having that point where the axes all aligned to act as a reference, because I can assure you later on, with all the amount of lines that will be drawn, you will start to get confused. One up there, one up there, and the one in the center. Bingo. Now what I suggest, if hide that, we can hide that, is to group these. Because if you're starting to move things around and you're trying to look at things, you may want to hide different parts of it so that your brain can make sense of it. Grouping them in some fashion is probably a good thing. So now we've got this 3V base model or structure. You can see the development. Each time you go up a frequency, you just divide the one line into whatever frequency you want, create the grid, the triangles in the grid form that you've got here, and then go through the task of creating your triangles. Now if you're lucky, depending on the frequency, you can shorten the amount that you have to work on by using this particular line, rotating, copy 120 degrees, and it will pop the surface in there, so you don't have to redraw the lines, etc. You can do that times 2 and it would put the other one over here, but I'm just going to draw this one in for the. Now notice that the surfaces will change colour. Now if you're using SketchUp, you'll know that depending on which way you click, clockwise, anti-clockwise, will alter the your surface. So you can, if you want, you just go along there and you can reverse the surface if you want. So it's not a problem to do. I just leave it there. Sometimes having different colours helps the eye see the different lines, so it's up to you. We'll do this one. Make a group. And I might just do one more. And I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to rotate it 120 degrees times 2. There we go. We've got our 3V quarter section dome. Move it across 3 meters. Rotate 90 degrees times 3 gives us our dome. I'm going to select that at this stage. I won't be doing as much looking at the changes because we saw what we wanted to see here. It applies here, but the one downside of a 3V dome is that you don't have a nice triangle with the orientation in this direction down here. So you can't easily create a gazebo or pergola from this unless you revert to just having the roof and the four supports. That makes it very flat, and there's not a lot of height in this, but it's possible. It's just not as nice as this. You won't have that problem in the other frequencies, but they have other issues. So it's a matter of finding what one suits your purpose, your aesthetic values, and then the physical properties of it, structurally, so that if it's too flat, it becomes a lot harder to hold, and there's more chances of flexion and say wind load or snow loads becoming more of an issue. That's not for these videos. That's totally unrelated now to what I want to cover. But you can see, if I just again get rid of the perspective, you can see that we no longer have a flush and flat surface as we did previously. So we had here, you can see the shape is being created by the triangles is quite different. That can be mitigated but can't be eliminated by another method of creating the geodesic shapes, but that'll be for later on, well down the track. But we just want to cover off in quick order creating the different iterations of a 1, a 2 and a 3V dome. Okay, I don't think I can add a great deal more that you would be any benefit for you listening to, so I will wander off and leave you with that. Okay, see you later. Bye.